this is for Asia Gondek. Um, her first, I gave her first critique on her stuff, and then she basically did a new one. So this is her level up. And there's a couple things that I'm going to say right off the bat. First thing is watch how you get in your blacks here. These dark blacks. Let me grab a color; it'll stand out here. So these dark blacks here, in this area here, really make it look muddy. Um, so that's something that you need to really pay attention to. And I would do this. I would just add on, go to levels or curves, depending on how you do it. And I would probably go into the blue channel because it's the darkest, and just start adding in a little bit of blue into those darks. I would also raise that just a hair. And that's going that subtle blue hint in there is going to pop your red values out a lot more. Also, what I would say is that the skull, you got two things wrong. One, the proportion of the skull does not match the proportion of the body. What I would say is you either need to shrink the neck down to something like this, and then the shoulder is going to come down, and like so. On this side, it would be it's going to be less narrow, especially since you're pushing this out. The neck is too long, and so this I would bring up here, something like that. And I think that's going to solve it. Someone made a comment about your ear. I think your ear is fine. Basically, what you want to do is you look at your proportion. I think it's the head itself. So if I'm just going to block this out here. So I'm going to take this is your, and I would say elongate the head a little bit more, and then the head, the ear starts in the middle of the quadrant, and I think if you're the way you're looking at it here, actually, you know what? Let me erase some of this. Let me just do. So your face is up here. I would raise the forehead a little bit more, and I would put in a little bit more back in the skull, like so. And then that being said, then this is straight back and this is straight back, so I think the ear would be a little bit bigger, and then it's right in the mid-center. So that being said, this is your upper skull, and then with your jaw line in there, your just with the jaw line in there, like so. I think that's fine. I think you just need more in the back. I think that's going to help it, and I'm going to make I would say make the ear just a hair bit bigger, and then trim out the background here, and I think that's going to help out quite a bit too. So those are things that I would say right off the bat that you want to change. Let me actually see what we can do here. Oops. I'm just going to turn this off here real quick. Alright, so take this, and this is going to be like so. Then these darks in here, you want to, I would, like I said, do some photo reference. Just put a wiffle ball with a string through it and put it in your mouth, and have someone jerk on it while they take a picture. And I think those are going to really help it. But that's going to give you the anatomy that you need for this area here, and I think it's going to be more like this with darker, like so. You know, you're going to see those tendons pop a lot more. So that's something that I would say right off the bat is, get that in there. And then pull some of this color into the shoulder here. Especially since you've got a front light, I think a lot more of her upper body, torso, will be pushed into the front light. So there's that. The next thing I would say, and this is going to the next level, I think, is start looking at textures. So an example is when you start looking at skin, what happens is a lot of the skin, and I'm just going to go in my brushes here. Let's see here. Nope, not too big. Generally, you just want kind of a speckled brush. Doesn't even have to be. Just got to figure out which brush I want. Let's do something like this. This is just a simple chalk brush. I'm going to toss the angle jitter on there, so it's going to rotate around. I'm going to basically do some size jitter, and let's do some scatter. Let's do like something like this, and like that. So basically all I have is just, it's going to look like a speckled brush. So now when I go in there, and I'm going to grab some of this red color, and let me grab a new layer under here so I don't destroy. Okay, so now I'm just adding some of the speckle color in there, and it's a little bit thick right now, a little bit too dark, but that speckle color pushed into it gives it a little bit more texture, as you can see, especially if I'm just adding in, where the stubble hits and things like that. So you want to do that on your blends area. Where the light's hitting here, it's going to be really saturated, but where it's not hitting, you're going to see that interlap between the light and the dark. So you're going to get like the speckled feeling. And like I said, it's just it's very, very subtle. And I'm just pulling some of the basics here, like so. I'm just kind of adding the darks in there, adding the lights, subtracting, that type of thing. So that's going to give you, I think, the texture you really want. And then when you go in here, when you go in the darks, if you add just a little bit of the mid-tone values, like this mid-tone value in here, if you add that, it's going to, let me just start slowly pulling some of that out. If you add some of that mid-tone value in there, it's really going to pop your texture out there, and I think that's where you want to go to the next level. You've got that just basic, real subtle texture on your skin, and then the next thing is it's raining out. You've got all this rain, but you've really got no water on her. You've got very little water on her. So you really want to focus on adding that type of texture on her. And water basically collects. And so what I mean by water collecting, let me just grab one of my basics here. All right, so what I mean by water collecting, so you start getting these droplets. All right, drop, 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 drop. Well, eventually another drop hits it, and it doubles in size, and then what happens is the water starts flowing down to the contour, hits the next drop, adds even more, and then starts flowing down to the contour. And that's what you're missing here. You're missing that additional water on here. So what I would say is, if you've got, let me go back to this one. So what you're doing is you're adding water drops here, which is good, but you want those water trails, you know, highlighted where water's coming. Honestly, when you take your photo reference for this, spritz yourself with a little water before you do anything. And if you do enough in your face, it'll start dropping, it'll start watering. And then the problem with water is it's going to really collect the light. So you're going to see these just glints of water, you know, holding off. And so like here, you know, it might look like water's dripping here. It might look like, you know, you've got it might start pooling up here like this, but you almost get a, you know, this reflection color. So it's just bright spots. And again, you know, I would say right off the bat, I would need reference to do this. There's no way I could paint this with the water and without having that reference of, you know, where it goes. The best suggestion I could tell you is go to like the adult sites where they've got, you know, pictures of girls in the shower, and that water on their face is the best reference I could tell you to go with. You know, because that's what you want to have, is you want to have the rivulets and stuff like that going down. And I like I said, I would tell you right off the bat, the best thing you could do is literally grab a wiffle ball or you know, a little ball, put a rope through it, have someone start pulling it on there. I think you did a really good job on the chains, so I don't think you need that aspect. But I think it's the reference to the water, the reference of the head and the neck muscles mainly, because they're sticking out. And then so when you're done with that, you know, you can lower the opacity down just a hair on that, and look at how you're starting to see some of the speckles, you know, come in now. And it's not as, you know, it doesn't need to be super dramatic. It needs to just give you that idea, that texture of, you know, this is the texture of the skin. And make sure you don't get it on the chains, because the chains are going to have a different texture. Um, and so I think that's the best way to step to the next level. Um, like I said, I would you know, get that photo reference in, and I you know, everything else after the photo reference becomes just this easy, you know, thing to do. Also, you know, watch your eyes here. You're getting very bright in the eyes with no darks in the eye. Um, how do I want to say it? With no darks in here. So I would, you know, get that dark. You see how that pushes that light in there a little bit better, and I think that's what you need there too. So a little bit more depth in the eye. So what I would say is, I'm just going to pick this purple color. Look at the eye. So you want thick, thin, like so, but then you've got the ledge here. I'm going to see this ledge and how it interacts with um, everything. So get that definition in the eyes, and the eyes I always felt were the most important part. So those are things that I would say right off the bat to help you out, move up to step to the next level. All right.